So as important as it is for you to stand and walk, it is for me to make you understand how your brain makes you do it. I'm your friend Dr. Devesh Bhatt, and let's get started with part 8 of episode 11 on the descending tracts of spinal cord. Descending tracts, also known as the efferent tract, they are responsible for carrying the motor information from the brain towards your spinal cord. And these descending tracts are divided into two components based upon their function and anatomy. The first one is your pyramidal tracts, which is responsible for your voluntary, precise, fine movements. And the other tract is the extrapyramidal tract, which is responsible for your involuntary movements, the posture, balance, and your muscle tone. Let's study the pyramidal tracts first, also known as the corticospinal tracts, because they originate in the cortex and then they travel towards the spinal cord. And where exactly in the cortex do they originate? They originate in the primary motor cortex area, which is denoted as the Brodmann's area number 4. And where exactly is this Brodmann's area number 4? Let's look here. This is our cute little brain. This is the anterior side and this is the posterior side of the brain. And in the center, you see this sulcus, which is known as the central sulcus. So the gyrus, which is just anterior to the central sulcus, is known as the precentral gyrus, which has your primary motor cortex area, which is denoted as the Brodmann's area number 4. Now this area will receive sensations from the premotor cortex, which is responsible for the fineness of the movement, which is denoted as the Brodmann's area number 6, and it is just anterior to it. And the primary motor cortex will also receive an information from the somatosensory cortex, which is located in the postcentral gyrus, which is denoted as Brodmann's area number 3, 1, and 2. If we look at the sagittal plane, because the axons from the primary motor cortex area has to descend downwards towards the spine, they will form this fan-like structure which is known as the corona radiata. Then descending downwards, they will go to the posterior limb of the internal capsule, then the midbrain, then the pons, and then the medulla. In the medulla, these fibers will form pyramid-shaped structure, and that's why the corticospinal tract is also known as the pyramidal tract. And in the medulla itself, just before entering your spinal cord, 80 to 85% of the fibers, they will cross over, they will decussate, and they will go to the opposite side of the spinal cord in the lateral side, and they will form the lateral column of the spinal cord, which is known as your lateral corticospinal tract. Okay, and those fibers, those 10 to 15% of the fibers which doesn't decussate, and they will just descend downwards ipsilaterally, they will form your anterior corticospinal tract. And now this anterior corticospinal tract will be responsible for giving motor innervation to your axial muscles, which is located in the trunk, and also the proximal muscles of your limbs. Okay, and those fibers which are decussating, those 80 to 85% of the fibers which are decussating, forming the lateral corticospinal tracts, they are descending downwards, and now they will synapse into the lower motor neuron, the nucleus of which is present in the anterior horn cell present in the gray matter of the spinal cord. From here, the lower motor neuron will take the information towards the distal muscles of your limbs, of your hands and foot, and hence the lateral corticospinal tract will be responsible for your fine voluntary movements of your distal limbs. And so the neuron tract, starting from the corona radiata, midbrain, pons, medulla, up till your anterior horn cell, will be considered as an upper motor neuron, and any lesion in this area will exhibit signs of upper motor neuron lesion. And below onwards from the anterior horn cell to till your distal limbs, if any lesion is there, will be considered as a lower motor neuron lesion. Okay, and so if you have watched up till here, use your corticospinal tract to like this video, follow me, because in the next video we are going to discuss about the extrapyramidal tracts. Thank you so much, guys.